Hey guys, and welcome back. Let's just get straight into this video today. Let's talk about the Oscars. I was on Twitter and this got retweeted. I'm so annoyed, but not for the reasons why you think I should be annoyed. It reads, breaking. In order for a film to qualify for Best Picture at the Oscars, it must hit two of these new inclusion standards put in effect by the Academy of Motion Pictures and Arts and Scientists starting in 2024. Now, while I agree, inclusion is great, it is great for everybody to be able to do the jobs, I think that we should have the best people for the jobs, not deducted by their sex, gender, race, etc. It shouldn't be where they come from, it should just be whoever is best for the job. So let's have a look at some of these inclusionary standards. Standard A, on-screen representation, themes and narratives. To achieve Standard A, you have to have a lead or significant supporting actor being from an underrepresented racial or ethnic group. A2 is at least 30% of all actors in secondary or more minor roles are from at least two of the following underrepresented groups, and that includes women, racial groups, LGBTQ+, or people with physical or mental disabilities by the sound of it. A3 is main storyline or subject matter, and the main storyline must be either centered on an underrepresented group, same as the last group of people, and it has nothing about the actual story content. So to get an Oscar for the first part of this for Group A, that would mean you would have to pick one of these groups. So this sounds absolutely fine for modern day films, but if you wanted to do a film based on the 1800s, say for example on Welsh children, and I mention this because way back then, Welsh children were encouraged not to speak English, and if you haven't heard of it, it's something called the Welsh Not, and that means that children were sent to school as per usual and severely encouraged not to speak Welsh, and if they did speak Welsh, they would end up with the Welsh Not. And if somebody else was caught speaking Welsh, that would be then passed on to them, to the next child, to the next child, and whoever had it at the end of the day then got severely punished. And that was a thing in some schools in Wales. So if you were to do a film on that, then you wouldn't be able to include any of these roles, because back then, if you had any sort of disability, mental or physical, then you would be sent straight into a mental facility. It's just none of these roles you would be able to include. So anything documentary wise or history wise, and you wanted to do a accurate film about it, you might not be able to include these genres. So I kind of get that representation and inclusion is absolutely great. I like it. I like watching films when you get a diverse cast of people and different personalities and backgrounds. I love it. But sometimes it's not always the best, if that makes any sense. And I use the Welsh thing as an example. And they can't say, oh, well, Welsh is included in this, because we're not. We're part of the UK and we are known as privileged because we're white. And that's just how things go. So let's read the next part. Standard B, creative leadership and project team. So again, you have to pick one from either B1, B2 or B3. B1 is at least two of the following creative leadership positions have to be either female, racial or ethnic, LGBTQ+, or people with cognitive or physical disabilities, or who are hard of hearing or deaf. And at least one of these positions must belong to the following underrepresented racial or ethnic groups. And there's quite a large list of everybody on there. So B2 is other key roles, so at least 6 other team or crew or technical positions have to be from an underrepresented racial or ethnic group. And then B3, overall crew composition. At least 30% of the film's crew is going to be from underrepresented groups, again, which include women, racial or ethnic, LGBTQ+, and people with cognitive or physical disabilities or who are deaf or hard of hearing. Now, this sounds really, really good for very, very high budget films who are able to pick and choose their staff. But what if you have a brilliant idea, you know a small group of people who are really, really good at their jobs, and you don't meet any of these criteria, but you know that you can do a fantastic job, but you'll never be able to get an Oscar because of this list of criteria that you're unable to meet. I don't know, I'm just saying. I do think that we should have more ethnic types in the industry. I do think that we should have more underrepresented groups in the industry. I'm not saying, oh, we can't have them because they're LGBTQ plus A. We can't have them because they're Asian. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that, but why can't we just get the best people for the job? And it doesn't matter about skin colour or where you're from, the background. It doesn't matter about your anything. Like, it just doesn't matter. All that should matter is that you are the best person for that job to make that film a success. I don't get it. Anyway, let's move on. I'm not going to run through all of these word by word, but I will say that Standard C is industry access and opportunities, paid apprenticeships and intern opportunities. Again, anybody who's underrepresented is included in this. Training opportunities and skill development. Again, anybody who's underrepresented and included in this. And I'm just going to skip over to Standard D, and that is, again, representation in marketing, publicity and distribution. I can't get my words out. Again, anybody who's underrepresented, and all categories other than Best Picture will be held to their current eligibility requirements. So I'm just going to leave this on here a few more seconds so you can read it. You can also pause the video and go back to read through Standard C, but it's all generally the same sort of thing. Now, I know I'm going to get called all sorts of things like racist and sexist and bigoted, and I don't care. I stand by my beliefs that the person with the most job experience and the person who is the best at their job should be hired regardless of who they are. Now, I don't care if the whole cast and crew are Asian. I don't care if the whole cast and crew are LGBTQ+. I don't care if the whole cast and crew are black. I don't care. I don't care if they're all white. I don't care. Just have the best people for the job. Personally, I don't think this is the right way to go about it. I do think that the film industry needs to change slightly, mainly because a lot of great actors are underlooked because they're not white. Now, that is very, very discriminative, and I do not agree with that. I think that, again, you should just place the best person for the job, and say, for example, you have a really, really good Asian actor, but they're not cool this month, so let's get a white guy again. No, I don't think that's the right way to go about it. It needs to be the best person for the job. And if this is the only way that film producers and directors can sort of open their horizons and get more diversity in there, then that's the way it has to be. But at the same time, I don't like the fact that they're like, oh, to win an Oscar you have to have one of these, one of these, one of these. It just feels like it's tokenism, and they're not doing the job because they're great at the job, but because, oh, they have a quota to fill. I don't know, it's just me. That's just the way that I'm viewing this whole Oscar list. And I just don't know if I agree with it or not. I feel like, yeah, we should have more diverse range, and you shouldn't be hired because being a white male sells. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that film companies always just go, oh yeah, we'll get the best person for the job. I don't think that's what they do. So if this is a way to break that, then good. But at the same time, I just don't like seeing people categorized into lists, because that is just wrong in my opinion. Anyway, I don't really know what else I can say. There's so many things that I'd like to get into on this case, on this whole Oscar statement, but I think that I'll leave it to you guys, because you've probably got some good ideas, opinions, and if you do have anything to say, don't forget to leave a comment down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye guys!